state your name?
Detective Brandon Wheeler.
And Detective Wheeler, where do you work?
I work at the Dyersburg Police Department.
And were you involved in this investigation? Is it the case of why we're here today?
Yes.
Okay. What were you asked to do?
I'm not sure if Special Agent Harbor reached out to us or if we reached out offering assistance, but we were trying to identify a vehicle that was of interest.
Okay. And how are you trying to do that?
So we have two LPR systems. There's a Motorola LPR system and the flock camera system, and we were utilizing those to try to identify a rogue, Nissan Rogue.
What is the LPR?
License plate reader.
And was there anything in particular about the Nissan Rogue that you were looking for?
Yeah, this one in question specifically had a California plate on it, which is not typical for our area.
Okay. And the city of Dyersburg had these two license plate readers, right?
There's more than two, but there are several in the city.
Those systems?
Yes.
Flock and Motorola?
Yes.
And do you have the ability to access those, right?
I do.
And can you access any other ones?
We can access other cameras that other agencies have shared with us.
Okay. And did you do that as part of this investigation?
Yes.
Who else did you access?
I access, there's several thousand agencies that openly share their cameras with us, so we can search all of them all at once.
Okay. And aside from Dyersburg, who else did you end up searching as it relates to this investigation?
The Jackson cameras.
Okay. I'm going to hand you up some photographs. Do you recognize that one?
I do.
Okay, and what is it?
It's a picture of the silver Nissan Rogue with California plate.
All right, and what system does that come from? Flock or Motorola?
This is from the flock system.
And is that in Jackson or Dyersburg?
Jackson.
And what time is that?
11:32 a.m. on the 29th of July.
Okay. And do you make that an exhibit to your testimony today?
Yes.
No, we have to make that state exhibit to.
No objection.
No objection.
See, that's, we'll mark this as state exhibit 2, especially.
And Officer Wheeler, do you recognize what's also been handed up to you now?
I do.
And give you this. You recognize that one as well?
I do.
Okay, and what is it?
It is a picture from the Motorola system in Dyersburg, capturing the vehicle going northbound Highway 78.
And that's the same road with the California license plate?
It is.
It's the same license plate as we saw in the first picture?
It is.
Okay. And what time of the day is that one captured?
This one was captured at 12:39 p.m. on July 20th.
And where is that one located? Where is that particular camera located at in Dyersburg?
That particular camera is located at the intersection of Lake Road and Radio Road, right in front of Love's.
Could you repeat that again, where it was, intersection of where?
Yeah. Lake Road and Radio Road,
Radio Road, okay, I'm sorry.
between Love's and Cracker Barrel.
And do you make that one an exhibit to your testimony as well?
I do.
No, good.
Show this marked as state's exhibit 3.
And then let's go back to the second picture that I actually handed up to you. You recognize that one as well?
I do.
Okay. And is it from the same camera that you just identified as the last picture?
It is from the same set of cameras facing a different direction.
Okay, which direction does that camera face?
This one is facing southbound towards the city.
All right. And what does it depict?
It shows a picture of the same Nissan Rogue California plate heading back in towards Dyersburg.
And what's the date and time on that?
This picture was taken at 2:15 p.m. on July 29th.
2025.
Correct.
You make that one exhibit to your testimony as well?
I do.
You're already asked to make that state exhibit.
Okay. Absolutely. Show this marked as state's exhibit number 4.
One more photo then.
Yes, sir.
Do you recognize that one as well?
I do.
And what system did it come from?
This is from the flock system.
Is that in Jackson or Dyersburg?
Jackson.
And what date and time captures that one?
This picture was taken at 4:16 p.m. July 29th, 2025.
And does it depict the same road as we've seen in the previous ones?
Yes, same road, same license plate.
Do you make that exhibit to your testimony as well?
I do.
And we'd ask to make that state exhibit 5. No objection.
Show this marked as State's Exhibit number 5.
You should have that passed back to Officer Wood. Officer Wheeler, on that last photo, was there anything of significance that you noticed?
Yes, this is a photo taken from the front angle of the vehicle, and you can see the driver in this photo.
Okay. And can you describe the driver?
The driver appears to be a white male, has a goatee, and looks very similar to the defendant.
And is there anything that you noticed about the vehicle in that photograph?
Yes, so the vehicle in this photograph appears to be much dirtier, especially around the wheels and the rims, than it was previously earlier in the day.
Your Honor, I'll pass the lead.
Yes, sir. Mr. Huffman?
Just 2 questions. Detective Wheeler, so you were asked to look for a Nissan Rogue California plates, is that correct?
I don't remember the exact parameters, but I believe we were looking for a Rogue with California plates.
Did you have a plate number?
No, sir.
Once you located the vehicle in the photos that was presented in the evidence, did you continue looking for other Nissan Rogues with California tags?
Yes.
Did you find any more?
No.
And the only photo, I believe was Exhibit 5, was the front view of the vehicles. There are other ones from the rear, is that correct?
I don't remember exactly, but I think they were all from the rear.
And then the one on Exhibit 5, which is from the front.
Yes.
That's all.
Any redirect, gentlemen?
No, Your Honor.
Detective Wheeler? Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. You're free to go, free to stay, whichever you choose to do, sir. Your next witness, General.
Special Agent Scott Lawson.
Agent Lawson. Agent Lawson, if you please come to the witness stand, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
And before you have a seat, if you would, sir, please raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God?
I do. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
State your name.
My name is Scott Lawson.
And do you work for the Federal Bureau of Investigation?
I do.
Okay, what is your current assignment with the FBI?
I'm a special agent on the Safe Streets Task Force.
Okay. And were you involved in the investigation as to this homicide in Lake County?
I was.
What role did you play?
Most of my experience is in the command post, assisting with cell phone analysis from tolls, working with timelines and video review to assist in the exploitation of cell phone data.
Okay. And have you received training on cell phone data?
I have.
What kind of training have you received?
I'm a member of the FBI's child abduction team, and we get yearly training with our cellular analysis survey team. That's the experts at FBI headquarters with analyzing cell phone data, geolocation data. So when we deploy with the child rapid deployment team, we are consistently working in partnership with the CAS team to analyze cell phone data and kind of feed each other back and forth to further investigations.
Okay. And is that what you did here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What specific cell phone data did you look at?
We started off our investigation by doing a deep analysis on the tolls of the victims' cellular telephones. When I say tolls, I'm speaking of the incoming and outgoing calls from the victims' phones to include records of incoming and outgoing text messages.
And when you did that, did you notice anything in particular?
Yes, we worked off a theory due to many of the victims arriving at the scene where they were murdered at various times, right? So they didn't all just appear there together. So we worked under the theory that someone must have organized a meeting or at least some type of reason to get the 4 victims to the crime scene. So as we were looking at the victims' tolls, we were looking for any unknown or unusual cell phone activity, particularly any cell phone number that would have contacted any of the victims consistent with maybe asking them to come to this location.
Okay. And did a number stand out?
There was one number that was immediately interesting. It showed up on the cell phone analysis at approximately 6:38 that morning, 6:38 a.m. That number was unknown as far as the tolls that we had analyzed to that point of known numbers of associates of the victims. In addition, another thing that we do when we're working these investigations is try to determine when the victims' phones stop taking calls, right? We're trying to work on a timeline. We're trying to narrow everything down so that our cell phone data is strong as possible. We noticed from the 4 victims' phones that none of the victims answered a call or made a call after 7:01 a.m. So knowing where they were located and when their phone stopped answering calls, we knew that whatever had happened to them had most likely happened right around or just before 7:01 a.m.
And the number that stood out, was that 731-345-7426?
It was.
And so prior to 6:38 that morning, there wasn't on any tolls of the victims.
Right. We subpoenaed the number and ascertained that phone had just came on for the first time ever that morning, and that it had been purchased the night before at a Walmart in Dyersburg, Tennessee.
And so what else did you do next?
We asked for tolls for that cell phone number to ascertain who, at that time, we could only see when it had called one of the victims' phones, which we had their tolls. So we now asked for the tolls of the number ending in 7426. One of the first things we saw when those tolls came in is that at 7:01 was the last call with one of the victims, Adriana Williams, and at 7:25, it was calling persons associated with the rental of the Nissan Rogue car that was in question. So we knew pretty confidently that number was very interesting to us. We then asked for the cell phone company to provide geolocation records for the cell phone 731-345-7426, and immediately we ascertained that number had been at the crime scene and had started traveling south from the crime scene at approximately 7:24 a.m. As I mentioned earlier, my job is to combine the phone, the video reviews, and the timelines to make it tell a story, to help it assist in telling a story. We also had ascertained that Matt Wilson's vehicle was also going south from the crime scene, passing a camera at approximately 7:25 a.m. And the cell phone data put this newly identified cell phone number passing that same camera at a time consistent with Matt Wilson's truck going southbound.
And Mr. Wilson's truck is a late 80s F-150.
That's correct.
Can I ask one thing? I'm sorry. When you say passes the camera, are you referring to the camera that, where was that camera?
I should have been more specific. Yes, sir. So
I apologize. I didn't
no,
mean to throw you
absolutely.
off.
There was a fire station on Highway 78 just north of the main intersection here, headed towards the crime scene. And that was the video that caught the F-150 traveling southbound at 7:25 a.m.
There had been some testimony about cameras, and I was trying to make sense of which one it was talking about. So
Yes, sir.
apologize for interrupting the agent. Yes, sir.
All right, Agent Lawson, you had mentioned that 7426 called a number associated with the rental. Can you explain that?
Yes, due to some good work performed previously, there was a Nissan Rogue that had been identified that had been rented in Jackson, Tennessee the day before and picked up on the morning of the homicide. This vehicle was captured on license plate readers going northbound towards the crime scene and then going southbound away from the crime scene at a time later in the afternoon. In addition, there was some identification of the vehicle from a park ranger being seen at the location. The investigative team followed up with the rental agreement and with Enterprise Rental Car to learn about the who had rented this vehicle, and identified a Michelle Obelis, I may not pronounce the last name correctly, Obelis, as being the renter. As that investigation continued, she had identified that the vehicle had been given to Austin Drummond and rented on Austin Drummond's behalf.
Okay. And did she have any connection to the defendant, Mr. Drummond?
Her boyfriend, Giovanni Thomas, was closely associated with Austin, and she was also closely associated with an individual named Tanaka Brown. Our phone toll analysis identified that at 7:25, as that number 731-345-7426 was leaving the crime scene, it was jumping on a three-way conference call with Tanaka Brown and Giovanni Thomas.
Okay. And then what happened next?
So obviously at this point, we were extremely interested in just learning everything we can about the user of this telephone number. We learned that upon departing the crime scene, it traveled to an area in Dyersburg commonly known as Bikini Bottoms. Bikini Bottoms used to be like an off-road recreation vehicle area for ATVs and such. When the phone arrived, and a point of interest, as this phone is traveling south towards Bikini Bottom, one of the victim's phones is traveling in concert with that phone. So that was very interesting to us as well. Both of those phones got to the Bikini Bottom area, and the phone 731-345-7426 arrived at Bikini Bottom at approximately 7:44 a.m. and stayed in the area to approximately 9:04 a.m. Based on what we do with violent crime investigations and the knowledge base that we have.
Coming in softly. Coming in softly. Turn your volume down for a second. SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants. Oh, yes, Bikini Bottom. I didn't know it was a place. Oh my gosh. I'm like, oh my goodness, SpongeBob SquarePants. Oh, wow, Bikini Bottoms. Hey, Lynn. I blew. Killing me softly. I wanted to make sure I come in soft. Didn't want to go on the mic real hot. SpongeBob SquarePants. I never knew that was actually a place. Is that where they got it from? Mm-hmm. Wow. Never knew. Okay, y'all can turn your volume back up. I'll make sure I just blow when it's time.
We theorized that something as far as getting rid of evidence or weapons or something had happened at that Bikini Bottom area.
And in fact, did it?
It did. There was based on the phone data and the investigation in whole, search parties were organized to go to Bikini Bottom. On the day that these phone tolls were being worked, they initially found a Tennessee driver's license for Matthew Wilson. And the next day, we found Mr. Wilson's vehicle down a ravine there at Bikini Bottom.
And that's the late 80s F-150 truck.
Yes, sir.
Did 7426 stay at Bikini Bottom?
It stayed there till about 9:04 a.m. And then it began a southeastwardly travel towards Jackson, Tennessee.
And did it eventually reach Jackson?
It did.
Do you know what time?
Refer to my notes for a more specific time. We saw it arriving in the Jackson, Tennessee area at approximately 10:04 a.m.
And where did the phone go while it was in Jackson?
The phone first travels to an area consistent with the Clarion Hotel in Jackson, Tennessee. It then moves towards the Cherry Grove Apartments, and then eventually towards back up towards Dyersburg.
Okay. Let's stay in Jackson for a minute. Was there any significance to the Clarion Hotel?
Through the investigation, the Clarion was identified as a place where Austin Drummond resided regularly and potentially used as a place to organize criminal activity.
And was his vehicle at the Clarion?
The information from the investigation is that his personal vehicle, the Audi, was at the Clarion. Mr. Tanaka Brown, who picked him up at Bikini Bottom, drove him back to his vehicle at the Clarion, and then followed him to Cherry Grove to depart, to leave the Audi sedan.
Was there any significance to the Cherry Grove apartment?
Cherry Grove Apartments is where Mr. Drummond's girlfriend, Caitlin Speed, resided. The investigation revealed that when his vehicle was departed at the Cherry Grove apartment complex, that he ascertained some cleaning style brushes at the apartment.
And then you said after that it starts moving back north towards Dyersburg?
There's a little time with it still being in Jackson, but by 11:55 a.m., the phone began a northwestern travel towards Bells, Tennessee.
And then it reaches Dyersburg?
We have the phone in conjunction with the license plate readers being in Dyersburg at 12:39 p.m. and by 1:04 p.m. being back north of Tiptonville near the crime scene.
And did it stay at the crime scene very long?
The phone appeared to stay, and just one note of reference for an education and this geolocation stuff with phones. You get these records either when a phone call is placed, a text message is placed, or some type of data transfer between the phone and the network. So Instagram sends you a notification, or your bank pops up and says you overdrafted. Like any kind of data transfer, you'll get a location data. But a person could be at a place a couple minutes before, and we would not see that due to if there was no data transmission. Could stay at a place a couple minutes after. These time frames are based on a call being made or a data transfer happening. So the last data transfer we saw near the crime scene was at 1:14 p.m.
All right, and then what happened?
1:38, we started seeing timing advanced data southbound from the crime scene.
Timing advanced data.
Timing advanced data is how a cellular tower communicates with the handheld phone device. So in a nutshell, the cell phone towers that you see have 3 sectors that cover a 360-degree circle. Each of these sectors cover approximately 120 degrees. When a phone is on a network, it's constantly sending some type of signal to the phone to determine how far away it is from that network. And the primary reason is a business sense from the phone company. They need to know which tower that phone should be using to have the strongest reception or the strongest data capability. So as that ping is going to that phone and coming back to that tower, if it's getting a little too far away or maybe a little closer to another tower, it'll tell it to start communicating with the stronger tower. So what we can do in law enforcement is we can ask to obtain that timing advanced data. And what that will do is say, when the phone was making that call or having that data transaction, what sector is it on, what 120-degree arc from the tower, and how long did it take that communication to go to the phone and back. So if you have 120 degrees and you're measuring the time from the tower to the phone and back, you're able to say that phone is somewhere in that arc that represents the amount of time from the tower and back.
So 138, you start seeing timing advanced data moving south from the crime scene.
That's correct.
And what happened next?
Still tracking south towards Dyersburg through 2:14 p.m. Then we have another license plate reader hit in Dyersburg at 2:15 p.m. From the next timing advanced data of significance was from 2:32 to 2:35. It was tracking towards Friendship, where the 8-month-old Westland was dropped off. The phone hit a arc right over the house where the baby was dropped off at approximately 2:35 p.m.
When you say the phone hit an arc, what does that mean?
So when the phone made either a data transfer or a phone call or a text message at 2:35, the phone communicated with the tower in an amount of time consistent that it had to be in an arc that covered the area of the home where the baby was dropped off.
Okay. So then what happened after that?
Around 2:35 to 2:55, the phone starts slowly going back northbound towards Dyersburg. We learned through our investigation by 3:11 p.m. that a 911 call was coming in about the child being in the yard. From 2:57 to 3:23, the phone starts tracking towards Bells, Tennessee, southeast again, eventually towards Jackson.
And does it eventually reach Jackson?
It does. At 3:39 p.m., the telephone number was back in the Jackson, Tennessee area. Of great significance to the investigative team. At 4:22 p.m., I'll try to explain this. It's a little bit difficult, but I mentioned the arcs where a phone can be in. So if you've got a sector pointing this way and you have the arc, but if you're in a city and you got multiple towers close, sometimes you'll see the arc from this tower and then the other tower facing back at you, you'll see its arc. So if you ever have two arcs intercept, you can not only say the phone is in the arc, you can say it's exactly you can say with great confidence that the phone is where the two arcs intercept. You almost have to see that, but where the two arcs from two towers intersected from 4:22 p.m. to 6:06 p.m. was right over Austin Drummond's parents' home.
And then did he leave his parents' home?
Approximately 6:34, we saw the phone being in an area consistent with the Clarion Hotel again. And then at 8:44 p.m., we saw the phone being in an area consistent with being back at Cherry Grove Apartments at Caitlin Speed's residence. And then of note, the phone went off the network. Well, let me mention this. Of note, Lake County received a 911 call at 8:17 p.m., kind of alerting the family and the public to what's going on. The phone went off the network for the last time ever at 8:44 p.m. So the phone was just turned on for that day and then was never used again after 8:44 p.m.
Thank you, Agent Lawson.
Yes.
Mr. Huffman?
Few questions, Agent Lawson.
Yes.
So your role in this case was essentially limited to the cell phone data analysis, correct?
Cell phone analysis and just assisting with interpretation in the command post of the timeline, the video, and the phone data.
Okay. All right, now, I actually understand what you're talking about with the triangulation regarding those things. The only way So when you have cell phone data, my understanding is, and Bruce also from your testimony, there are 120-degree arcs. You typically, cell towers have three areas, encompassing 360 degrees, is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, in order to determine the position of the cell phone, you can tell which sector it's in, correct?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
And unless you have the timing advance data, you do not have a distance from the tower, correct?
Right, that requires the timing events.
All right, so if you do not have the timing advance data, you just know it's somewhere in that sector.
Yes,
And that could be large area, square miles, correct?
yes, sir.
How many of these locations did you have timing advance data? For instance, you said there's one where the timing advance data gave you triangulation directly over Austin, Drummond's parents' house.
Yes,
A couple times you testified that you had the cell phone at the crime scene.
yes.
Was that given with the timing advance data, or was that just in the general area with the sector?
That was with timing advanced data, but it would be with one arc, so it could be in a great length of area in an arc, but the arc was over the crime scene.
Okay, so you did have a sector and an arc.
Yes.
That was my question. Did you ever determine who purchased that cell phone? You said it was purchased in Walmart in Dyersburg. Is there any evidence who purchased that phone?
We believe that two of the victims purchased the phone the night before.
Do you have any evidence that Austin Drummond purchased that phone?
Not him personally, no, sir.
In Bikini Bottom, you said that you located the Tennessee license of Matthew Wilson as well as his truck in ravine, is that correct?
The truck was in a ravine. My understanding is the Tennessee DL was a paper copy, and it was not down the hill. It was up more in a kind of common area, but it wasn't down the ravine.
Were you involved in that search or processing that scene?
No, sir. No, sir.
Yes, sir. Any redirect, General?
No, Your Honor.
Agent Lawson, thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.